Hello, kindergarteners. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Today's art project is going to be all about texture. So let's think about that word for a second. What does it mean when something has texture? Or what do you think texture is? Texture is the way that something feels. So if you feel your clothing, it feels very different than if you touch your skin or if you touch your hair. If you touch a water bottle, it's going to feel very different than if you touch a pencil or a rug, right? And so there's lots of different types of textures. Some are silky, some are smooth, some are rough and sort of have a harder feel on it. And so what we're going to do this week is go on a scavenger hunt. And I want you to look around your house and search for texture. You all are going to be sort of detectives and you're going to go on the hunt for different textures. And make sure that wherever you find texture, you're able to take a little piece of and put in a little jar for collection. We're not actually going to have a jar, but you all are going to be drawing out your very own jar. And inside that jar, you're going to have different things that have different textures. So this is a piece of cardboard that I sort of took the outer layer and it's nice and rough. I have some bubble wrap from a package that I got, and that's nice and rough, and so I decided to include that. I have a packet from a tea that I drank earlier, and it's very smooth, and I wanted to add that to my texture collection. I had a piece of yarn, and then a Q-tip. It has sort of like a fuzzy texture. I know there's going to be other things that you find in your house, like on your bed, you probably have very soft textures, but we can't take a piece of our covers. Please don't do that. Make sure that you, wherever you find your texture, you're able to take a piece. And if you're not sure, ask an adult in your household before you go ahead and snip it off, because whatever is on here, this is sort of like recycled pieces. You don't want to just take anywhere. And then think about your background. I look forward to seeing what kind of textures you find in your home. All right, my kindergarten friends, once you've gone out and you have found different types of textures around your house that you can actually take and glue onto your piece of paper, here's what you're going to do. I have some textures that I found and I'm holding them off over here. I have this really fun packaging, some bubble wrap, some cardboard, and lots of other things that I'm going to include. So I need to go ahead and I need to do my jar first. So I'm going to go ahead, holding my paper the tall vertical way. I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to sketch out the top of my jar, that nice lid. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create an oval at the top, as big as I want my jar to be, or I want it to be pretty big. So I'm going to make sure that it's nice and big. So on either end, I'm going to go ahead and do a line down and a line down. And then I'm going to curve this around to connect. And I can even do little lines in this section to make it look like the lid of my jar. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this end and I'm going to round it out to make the body of my jar and curve it down here. And then do the same thing over here. Nice jar like that. And then inside, I can go ahead and add the different things that I want to have on there. You can even do, if you wanted to, you could even do a little label on your jar. So this is going to say, this jar is Miss Mrs. jar. So it's going to say Miss. And then inside, I'll have all my different things that I want to showcase my texture. So I can go ahead and from my recycled pieces, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a little bit. I could even make it a fun shape. So if I want my bubble wrap to be in a circle, depends on how much you have or how many different textures you found. I'm going to go ahead and put that there because I think that that's where I want it. I have this really cool thing of where I had some avocados and I love the way that this feels. This is a very fun texture to me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a piece of that to put it in my collection jar, kind of like this. And then of course I need some cardboard, and you can even have, the cardboard has a fun texture on its own, kind of like this, but if you look closely, there's actually some layers in there, and if you take away that top layer, you're able to see this more lumpy and bumpy sort of side. And I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I can see a little bit of it. Things. Once you have it laid out and you know where you want to stick it, my suggestion is that you play around with it. You might switch it up and say, actually, I want this here and I want this over here. Whatever you think you need to make sure that your jar is filled, make sure you plan it out. And then you're going to need a glue stick to go ahead and glue it all together. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my glue stick on there. Now that I've thought about what's inside of my jar, and I have a couple different things on there, so I'm going to shake that off. I can also think about my background. And so here's how I decided to have my background done. I just did a lot of different swirls on the background with different colors that I liked. That's been my favorite thing to do. All I did was just do swirls. I look forward to seeing your collection jars.